Europe during the early 1900s was a land of tension. Nationalism, imperial rivalries, the buildup of huge armies and navies, and a complicated web of alliances helped make Europe a powder keg waiting for a match. That match was lit when Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in Serbia in 1914.
From a pistol shot at Sarajevo, the first of the great modern world wars exploded. And almost overnight, all of Europe was engulfed in conflict. Once the great armies had met head-on, the conflict resolved itself into a desperate struggle to hold this plot of ground, this foot of earth. Military analysts called it positional warfare. But the foot soldiers knew it only as a war of trenches, a desperate fight for a waterlogged hold.
The war pitted the Central Powers of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire against the Allied powers of Russia, France, and Britain. The United States tried to stay out of the war. President Woodrow Wilson issued a proclamation of strict and impartial neutrality. Although the United States would not fight the war, the American people began to take sides. The common language and culture shared with Britain, combined with increasing stories of Germany's brutal actions in Belgium, made most Americans favor the Allies. American industries sent supplies to the countries at war across the Atlantic. Although some U.S. companies supplied the Central Powers, most sold their ammunition, equipment, and other war supplies to the Allies. Soon the Germans began attacking shipments from America using a lethal underwater weapon, submarines or U-boats. In 1915, a U-boat sank the British passenger ship Lusitania, which was also transporting ammunition from New York to Britain. 124 Americans on board lost their lives.
The Lusitania, America's ship of fate. As passengers line the rail, they are getting their last look at land and at light. No hint of the panic that is to come 6 days later here. No suggestion of trepidation, no feeling of disaster. But then, off the coast of Ireland, the first German torpedo struck. Germany's flagrant violation of international law burst below decks. The warning had its tragic aftermath. Germany was inviting us to war.
Americans were outraged by the attack. Fearing American entry into the war, Germany halted the U-boat attacks. But 2 years later, desperate to win a victory, Germany resumed unrestricted submarine warfare. On February 24, 1917, the British intercepted a telegram from Arthur Zimmermann, Germany's foreign minister, to the government of Mexico. In it, Zimmermann promised American lands to Mexico if it attacked the United States. The British gave a copy of the message to American officials. When it was published, American anger over Zimmermann's telegram and the resumed attacks on U.S. merchant ships exploded into war fever. On April 2, 1917, President Wilson sent Congress a declaration of war, which the House and Senate quickly approved. After nearly 3 years of neutrality, American troops set off to join the war.